Hello and welcome. My name's Petra. I'm in Cambridge, Massachusetts with my lovely daughter,
Natasha.
Together we're Knit Inc. And we are bringing you episode 38 after a pretty long hiatus, I think.
Yeah, we did 2 in March and then
None in April.
none in April. We had obvious full intentions to do one in April. We were going to do one when I was home briefly, and then I think we were going to do one when we were both in England.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's May 4th. It's May 4th today, right?
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. Oh, and just like clockwork, just starting, Matteo has woken up.
From his nap.
So I will grab him and we'll continue. And we're back with Mr. Matteo. His naps lately tend to be 40 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes. And we were banking on the hour and 40 minutes, but it was just 40 minutes. So he's going to join us for a few minutes.
He looks a little surprised because he's looking at himself. Oh, not anymore. He's wondering what's going on with this screen. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I just checked and actually it's just over a month since we released our last podcast.
Oh, okay. So not too bad.
It feels like a long time.
Yeah.
But we both went to England. I was there for 3 weeks and...
I was there for a week. Mr. Matteo had his first international trip.
Yeah.
We went to visit your side of the family, so we saw your sister, husband, and 2 boys, Jacob and Sammy, who are 22 and 19.
My nephews.
And my grandmother, Matteo's great-grandmother. So he got to meet some family, and we had a good time. We were up, we flew in and out of London, but we were up in the Wirral, which is close to Liverpool, about half an hour from Liverpool, so in northern England.
Yep.
I mean, we really wanted to podcast there, but it just got busy. You know, our days just got full. So
Yeah, and one of my nephews, Jacob, he really wanted to do a guest appearance on the podcast, but just somehow between naps and visits and trips, we just couldn't find that.
And everyone
that
feeling
hour.
100%, and we didn't want to force it. So
Yeah. But it was a good trip, and
Yeah.
we bought some. We'll talk later on. There was just a very little bit of acquisitions.
yes, I just have one thing to show
Yeah.
about an acquisition.
So it's May today, as we said before. It's kind of a dreary day in Cambridge.
Yeah, we just did a quick walk, and Matteo had to get on some wool, and we had to put jackets on. So
Yeah.
still need our wool even in May, huh, bud?
Matteo was dressed from head to toe in woolies. Maybe you'll
Yeah.
insert a little picture.
Yeah, I will.
So let's talk about what we're wearing.
Okay.
I'm wearing my FOs, but you talk about what
Sure.
you're wearing.
I had
an
a
older
different.
FO.
I had a different top on, and then I changed it last minute because I realized I had worn it semi recently. So I threw this one on, which I haven't worn in a while, and it accidentally ended up coordinating with Matteo.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's funny
cute.
because I feel like I'm normally in. We're both normally in like greens or teals, but now we're in some browns and oranges. So this is my Ravello on my project page. I'm calling it Ravello 2.0 because I followed the pattern, stitch count, and shape of the sweater, but not the stripe pattern. So I looked this up on my phone, but now I'm using my phone to record.
What information do you
I was
need?
going to look up when I knit this. I do know that it was Quince & Co. for the brown. No,
No,
it
I
wasn't Quince & Co.
gave you that.
It was
brown.
it wasn't Quince & Co. It was something. Now I'm getting all these.
Yeah, I can't think of what it is, but it came from
It was
my
a
stash.
cashmere something blend. Look, we're so professional.
Yeah, I mean it really is.
I have to
feels
log in.
really nice and
There are
soft.
some cashmere in here. Okay, we're gonna pretend I was very prepared. Magpie Fibers Swanky
that's
Sock.
right. That's right.
And that is, let me just double check. I think there is some cashmere in it. Yes, it is 80% wool, 10% cashmere, and then 10% nylon. So you had given me 2 skeins of that, and then I had used some oranges and browns to stripe from an Advent, and I just pulled the colors that kind of went with it. And I knit this, let's see, June 23rd, 2021 to July 17th, 2021. So just about a month. Back in the days, I could make a sweater in a month. Those days are not here right now.
No.
Size 4 US, 3.5 millimeters. Yeah, and I did a twisted rib around the neck. I had fun with this one. I did match the stripes to the body and
on
then
the sleeves.
On the sleeves, yeah.
Yeah,
and
it really is great.
I've grown a little bit, but this is kind of bracelet length, and I did one teal stripe. It's kind of blending on the camera. One teal stripe on my left arm. It's not on the right arm because once you get past a certain point on the sleeves, you don't need to match them. They're longer than the body, and I needed a little teal in there.
That's cute. I like that little teal in there. Yeah, and I want to make something like this from some yarn that I have got left over from one of Stephen West's shawls.
It's surprising how these little stripes can actually make up for if you have less yardage for your main color.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't gonna have enough of the main color, so that's why I needed all the stripes. But I guess it makes sense. I mean, I did 2 rows, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. Initial 30 rows, which is nothing
that's nothing to sneeze at.
Nothing to sneeze at, right?
And it's also a nice way to use up those little leftovers that you don't know what to do with.
Yes.
Which I've got quite a lot of.
I think it's all about having the color family go.
Yeah, and I have a color family because it's all the colors I picked to go for a shawl. I've got 5 colors left over. You can either
do like a color family or like a bunch of brights or a bunch of pastels or kind of something that kind of brings them some consistency so it doesn't look too haphazard.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. Yes.
Okay, so you've got a lot of, you're in our typical purple blue colors. So
I know everything kind of goes together. So this shawl, I can't honestly remember if I had finished it when we did our last podcast. If I hadn't, I must have been really close.
You were working on it. You were knitting on it while we were recording, yeah.
So it's the Polaris by Martina Bem, and I reblocked it just before coming up here because I really wanted to stretch out these eyelet borders, and I also wanted it to get a little wider and bigger.
Oh, excuse you.
Excuse you, Matteo. So this was a pattern and yarn that I got in my my local yarn group. We do a swap at Christmas time, and so this was, you got the pattern. So one of my friends subscribes to the Martina Bem. I'm not sure what it's called, but you get a kit every 2 months or so, and she donated this one. So mine is not as drapey as this one, which I'm a little bit sad about. I should have used bigger needles. You can see it's much drapier and bigger. And the yarn was Sweet Georgia, Superwash BFL, Silk and Lace, and the colorway was Northern Lights. I really love the colorway. I mean, it's completely in my color palette. But I finished it, I think, right before going to England, and I wore it a lot in England, just like this, just to keep out the chill. Yeah. So that's my.
Apologies for the beeping. There's construction going on in front of my apartment. They're tearing up the whole street. Very convenient.
Which is horrible for parking.
Yeah.
And then I finally finished my Lento.
Yay!
Which I did take to England and back, and then I finished it at home. It took me a while. It's really straightforward pattern. I talked about this in our last 2 episodes, so I won't go on about it anymore. I'm just going to mention that I, thank you, held Holst Super Soft, colorway is Hyacinth, I think, with stranded dye works, mohair silk, and I did do helical knitting because the 2 skeins of this that I got were slightly different, which is what happens with hand-dyed yarn, and the colorway is Naive watercolor. I love the colorway. So I have quite a bit of this left over. I have this, and then this is how much I have left over from one ball. So I have twice as much as this. Not quite sure what to do with it. And this came from a cone. I've got quite a bit left over. So I'm not sure what I'll be doing with this, but I'm
maybe
happy
you could do
to...
a hat or something with the one that's already round together.
Yeah. I don't really wear woolly hats. It wouldn't be for me.
Well, it could be a gift.
It could be a gift. So this was just knit. It's a basic raglan knit at a really loose gauge. You can see. So it's kind of is nice for this time of year. And inadvertently, my sleeves are kind of bracelet length again. I actually like longer sleeves, but this will work. I'm not redoing the sleeves. At least I don't think so. At least not as of this moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very happy to finish this. It was part of the Let's Lento cal that I think finished 2 months ago. But it got me into doing this pattern. I definitely do it again. I'm just going to stand up to show you. This is the length. It's just kind of right below my hip. Yeah.
I love the colors. I think it came out really nice.
Yeah, I really love these colors too. And I was just so thrilled to be able to use this. And I was using yarn that was in my stash, so...
Nice. It's always a win.
It's always a win, yeah. So I have one more FO.
I realized I thought I had no FOs, but I have 2 FOs.
Yeah, I know. We always think, we don't have much to show. And then shall I take the little pumpkin and you talk about your FOs?
You want some snuggle time, huh?
Yeah. Come on, my little pumpkin. He's always so
little
warm.
Pumpkin. You're a little orange pumpkin.
He's like a little hot water bottle. He's always warm.
Yeah. So when we were in England, I had packed Matteo just some cotton hats, but it was actually quite chilly. So I had brought some yarn to make my friend who's due with a baby in September. I was going to make her a hat for him with this yarn that is from our friend Natalie in Florida at Studio South Pensacola. And it's an Aran weight. This colorway is Paradise. And I bought maybe 4 skeins. I've made a couple things. I made Georgie a hat. You made Matteo a little onesie. Mm-hmm. So I decided to cast on a hat really quickly to make a hat for Matteo since it was cold in England. We went for some walks and it was chilly. So I did this really quick Aran hat, size 6 and 8 needles, and did it in just one day, basically. And he was able to wear that out and about in England. So that was a quick whip up, and I have enough. I'll just do probably the exact same hat for my friend and finish off this. This is the last of those 4 skeins. Uh-oh, you dropped your chicken.
We loves this little chicken.
So that's my one quick, and I guess I can let you. It's a free pattern. And I've used it for Aran hats before.
Is it just for Aran sweaters?
Let me hook this up so you can stop dropping it. There you go. You're gonna grab it. Is it just for Aran? I think so.
Because I want to whip up some baby hats.
Whip them up.
Yeah.
I think that's in my... Again, I'm so prepared. Oh, you know what? I think it's in my Knit Companion access here.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Knit Companion.
Oh, okay. I cast on for the Beloved hat.
Okay.
Which is a free pattern by Solène Croix Laure. And it's supposed to have these...
Oh, excuse you.
It's supposed to be like a seed stitch pattern, I think. Something like that. But I had started doing that and it was taking me too long. So I just switched to just knitting.
Stockinette.
Oh, it's double seed stitch. And I just did stockinette. So I just used the stitch count for this free pattern. But it's baby, child, adult, and large adult. And I did the child size.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah. It's nice to just whip up a hat.
Right?
Yeah, right?
Okay, I'll just keep going.
Keep going.
Okay, so last time I think I finished one Theo the Triceratops and I had the pieces for the second Theo the Triceratops. So this is Theo the Triceratops and it's from this book that I was gifted, Knit a Square and then you turn it, create a cuddly creature by Nicky Epstein. So I put this together and this one I think I think he looks less like a rat. I hope he looks less like a rat.
Oh, he looks good like that, yeah. This one's definitely cuter.
Yeah. So they're funny. So I've made 2 of those. Stuffed it, and I actually fixed the legs on the other one so that they're open like this instead of cinched up right here.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. So those are my FOs.
Okay, so I have one more FO.
Do you want me to hold him?
Sure. It's people Matteo swapping. And I knit this for one of my friends became a grandmother for the first time. She's French, and she has a grandbaby called Carvey that was born a couple of weeks ago. So I made this little, it's called French macaroon, this pattern.
Cute.
It's a free pattern through Ravelry, and it's written interestingly. It's just sort of like a table, cast on this many stitches for this size, knit this many rows, or knit for this many centimeters and inches. So it's just oh my gosh, I'm blanking on what you call this stitch. Garter stitch, yes. It's just garter stitch, and you do a 3-needle bind off at the top to sew it along here, and there's one little button at the back, and I just made this little crochet button. I like to make these crochet buttons instead of sewing on buttons for little ones, because I feel like the actual button would be too hard for them when they're lying down.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And for swallow, but for swallow not to be a hazard. So yeah, so my friend's coming over this afternoon to meet Matteo, and I'm going to give her this for her little grandbaby. So that was that, although it turned out a bit bigger. Oh, and the yarn I used is yarn I had in my stash. It's a cotton and
another stash bust.
Another stash bust, and it's again yarn I got in my swap a few years ago, and I think this was from Carol.
Nice.
So that was my other. So that's it for my FOs.
Okay.
I actually lost my knitting mojo a little bit.
Yeah.
In part, traveling to England, I didn't have as much time to knit as I thought I would. And then coming back, it took me kind of a while to get settled into a routine. But I've been on a mending kick. Mm-hmm. I mended all of my socks that were in my mending pile.
All of them?
Yeah, which I don't even, it would have been probably at least 4 or 5 pairs of socks I mended. I had some smart wool socks that had worn in the heel, and I just enjoyed just the sort of methodical rhythmic stitching. I was mostly I did stitching instead of duplicate stitch. And in England, I love going to the charity shops, the thrift stores. I think I mentioned this before, that the town that my mom lives in, there's 7 charity shops. And excuse me, I'm going to bend down to grab something.
Well, Matteo, I'm just giving him the Theo for the first time, and right in the mouth it goes.
Oh yeah, everything in the mouth. So in one of the charity shops, they were selling this yarn for reinforcing and mending, 85% wool and 15% nylon, for 20 pence. So I bought 5 of these in different colors, and they had been used to, a varying amount. So I used these up for my mending. Awesome. And then I also have
made in Great Britain.
Yeah.
I think someone has warned us about some toxicness in some of these before.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten. I bought some from the US that I have at home.
Yeah, but I think when it's just on your feet, it's probably not a big deal.
I've forgotten the details about the toxicness. Plus, these must be so old. But anyway, they're just socks for me.
Yeah.
In fact, I think all the socks that I mended were my own socks that had just been sitting. But I think my knitting mojo is coming back. Yeah. Partly, I think doing this podcast is helping me rethink my knitting. So let's move on to whips.
Okay, I have 2 whips, and then something I'm going to be casting on when I finish one of these whips.
Okay. I only have 1 active whip.
Oh wow. So should
I know. And I've got 3 things on deck. Did I say I lost my detergent? Whoops, sorry. iPad fell.
I guess you like this Triceratops, Matteo. Are you getting pieces of wool in your mouth, but you don't mind?
So, you're going to talk about your whips?
Sure.
Let me take the little bundle.
Just checking the time. Okay. So,
Matteo.
I am working on Lino's Coat by Julie Party, and this is a free pattern, and it's just one size, and it's for, I think, a child about a year old, and it's a little jacket. Now, you knit it in one piece, and I'm on the hood, and I'm just trying to figure out how I can hold this so that it sort of makes sense to show.
Oh, it looks like an origami. You know what, while you're doing that, I just remembered that I did have another FO that I already gave away, which was the Elizabeth Zimmerman Baby Surprise Jacket.
Oh, right.
I made one while I was in England, and I gave it to a little girl. Yes.
Okay, so...
Yes, I did, Matteo. It went to a little girl.
I think, yes. Are you interested in what I'm doing here?
Actually, it went to a little girl that lent us a crib and a seat and a car seat for Matteo while we were in England, so that was really wonderful.
So you can see it's knit sideways, right? Oh, you're putting that in your mouth too?
Everything is going in Matteo's mouth.
So this is one side, and I have to seam the sleeve and the side here.
Okay.
And then this is the other side, and I've got 4 buttonholes that you can sort of see that will close here, and this is the other sleeve to be seamed, and now I'm working on the hood.
Oh, that's going to be really great for this autumn. That looks really great.
The idea is, this is the hood. I have to knit, I think, 19 centimeters, and then you do a 3 needle bind off at the top.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The pattern is free. It does take a little bit of it's not super clear. Like, for example, you have some increases to do on the hood, and then it says knit for 19 centimeters and 3 needle bind off.
It doesn't tell you
details, and it's definitely, I would say, an intermediate knitter, just for precaution.
The minimal details that
and I have stitch markers, so I know what's the right side on different areas, on the hood too, because it gets a little confusing. But I'm using the yarn that from my whole saga of my cardigan, and I ordered 4 extra balls, so I have just this much left of this color. I'm hoping I have enough to finish the hood.
How much more do you have to knit?
Let me measure. Let's find out.
So while
that scared you. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that this pattern was very similar to what you described, and the 3 needle bind off in garter stitch works really well. It's more or less invisible look.
So I'm
can't see it really.
About 16 centimeters, so about another 3 to go. But I do have a little bit of the green left. I think it's behind here.
Oh, okay.
If I need to, I will do a couple rows in that, and then maybe use the green to seam. I can also I tried to leave myself some tails here and there
that's
to
a great
use those
idea.
to seam. So I think it's just gonna squeak by.
Which is great to have nothing left.
Yes. So I'm hoping that will be done for next time, and then it blocked and ready for the fall. Right, bud?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's going to match you in your cardigan.
Yeah. Okay. And I'll just go with my other whip since you're holding him.
Okay.
So I have made... Oh, and I should say the Theo the Triceratops was from some Nora wool that was gifted to me. So I've also started the Yin and Yang, the Fighting Fish, also from this book.
Who's that going to be for?
I have my friend Amelia's son Otis, who's about 18 months, and then her nephew, who's about 9 months. I was going to let them, I guess this is going to be Matteo's Triceratops. Another Triceratops will go to one of them, and then the other, the fish.
Oh, okay.
So I've made the whole thing about this book is you make, a square, and then you manipulate it in a way to create the animal. So I've made the square, and then I've done, this is going to be, let's see, this is going to be like the top back fin of the fish, and then I've done the two little fins. So this one's a lot simpler than the Triceratops. So these are the two side fins. Yeah.
But it looks fun.
You can see there.
Oh,
so you stuff about half of it and then kind of bunch it, and then that's the rest of the tail. So this is going to be one fish, and then I'm going to make one more fish just to get through it. And then I noticed these colors would be good for a frog.
Oh, yeah.
And there are two frog patterns in here.
This is going to be for Georgia.
So
her birthday's coming up.
Yeah, her birthday's around.
Did you send her the other frog?
I did. She got it in the mail. And instead of waiting to give it to her, I thought she would enjoy having some mail. And Ellen sent me a photo. She was really excited.
Oh, good.
So there's this frog.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Freddie. That's Freddie the Frog Prince.
Okay.
And let me go to the table of contents because I think... Okay, and then there's this frog. See the 48 here with his tongue sticking out.
Oh, that looks like a...
I think I might do the other one. Okay, so there's Freddie the Frog Prince or Caleb the Bullfrog.
Oh, the bullfrog.
Although she might like Caleb the Bullfrog. Caleb the Bullfrog, it's just looks like it's one square and then a bunch of little bits. So I'm thinking of doing another fish and these kind of pinks, and then when I get back to this green area, then I will do, which will be kind of in here, kind of cut the Nora where I need to, and do a frog for Georgie. And just, I don't want to use this for all the little stuffies, just use it up and keep going with it. So
that's a nice
there will be
idea.
children to give it to. I think it'll be cute to have them choose what they like. But I guess you've chosen this one because you've slobbered all over it.
Yes, and this is, it keeps burping. Just interesting.
Okay, so those are my two FOs, and then
your two whips.
My two whips.
Almost FOs.
And
wishful FOs.
My cousin is on my dad's side, not the ones we visited, is expecting a baby girl in August, and
that's gonna be your second cousin, Mateo.
I'm gonna make something for her out of this. I have a couple patterns in mind, but I want to cast this on when I finish. Two is my max working whips right now. So when I finish one of those, probably when I finish the coat, I'll cast on for this. My blanket, I think I've done like 2 rows. I didn't bring it to England. It was too big.
Too big, yeah.
Oh, bless you.
Bless you.
So yeah, I mean, making progress,
Yeah,
not nothing, but not our usual output, but still
making things.
Yeah, still favoriting a lot of things on Instagram that I see and on Ravelry. Oh, speaking of, I saw that there's another mystery gnome knit along.
Oh yes, I saw that too.
And I bought the pattern.
Did you?
I think it starts in June. And I thought that might be kind of fun. I kind of want to give it another chance because I didn't love the December one. And I don't know. I kind of want to try it. So I bought the pattern. Fun. It was. Okay. I'm usually not necessarily like, oh, I have to buy it because it's 30% off, because sometimes I kind of like to just buy it full price. I know that's kind of silly, but I'd rather wait and buy it when I know I'm going to cast it on at full price, rather than buy it at a discount and never knit it. So
I'm sort of like that too.
So typically I don't jump when I see something on a sale just to buy it and be like, oh, I'll cast this on whenever, because I don't end up casting it on. So I usually like to buy it when I'm ready, and typically that's at full price. So we'll see what happens in June.
And that might be a fun little project for you, Natasha.
Yeah, I go back to work the Tuesday after Memorial Day, which is like May 30th or something like that. So I will be starting work and all of that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you go?
Okay, so where are we? What am I doing?
I know, I just kind of riffed through the rest of my stuff.
Whips. Oh, I only have one active whip. That's right. And the active whip I have is a sweater for my nephew Jacob. I was fortunate enough to spend quite a bit of time with him, and he really has a detailed interest in fashion and clothing. It's very specific, and I was wearing one of my older sweaters, and he said it looked like a store-bought sweater.
That's a big compliment.
I know. And then he kind of talked me into making a sweater for him. And he was very specific about the design, and he chose the yarn, which was cones, and we ordered it from Woolly Knits while I was there, while I was in England. And
then brought this back on the plane, and it got caught. We were sitting in the bulkhead row, which is the row where there's no seats in front of you, so that we could have a bassinet for him. And the flight attendants, there's enough space that before takeoff, the flight attendants are walking back and forth, through there to kind of cut through. And my mom had her cones like against the wall and was knitting, so there was a tripping hazard, and a poor flight attendant tripped over it.
Well, yeah, talk about not portable knitting.
The flight attendant was fine. She was fine.
I started this. I wanted to get as much of the body done as possible at the top while I was still in England, so I could fit it on Jacob, because he was very particular about fit and style. These wouldn't fit in my case. So anyway, I had this as my travel knitting flying home. Slight madness. I had these 2 combs in my backpack. Of course, I'm holding 2 strands together. So this is 100% merino wool from Woolly Knits. It's not their woolly wool, because I thought the woolly wool might not quite be up to Jacob, what he would enjoy. So we decided to go with the merino, and he picked this color. It's anil blue.
It's almost veering towards purple, I would say.
Yeah, you're right. He was happy with the color when it arrived. So it's 4.
Are you happy with your fingers?
I think it's sort of a DK-ish weight. I'm using US size 6. That's 4mm needles. And he wanted a slight drop shoulder sweater with a high neck and short ribbing, and he wanted the sweater to flow into the ribbing. He was very specific about that. So I was searching for, male sweaters on Ravelry, and are you going to join in with our podcast, Matteo? What do you have to say about this sweater? Anyway, it's a petite knit pattern called the Melange sweater. Yeah, Melange sweater. And I chose this because it was the right gauge, and it was drop shoulders. So I was able to just join the body. I was actually trying this on Jacob as we were catching our train to London to catch our flight in Liverpool train station.
Yes.
He was trying this on. So we've got some pictures of him doing that. So yeah, I hope so far so good. And I had lost the measurement that he wanted for the length. So this is how far I've got right now. So I want to know, he doesn't like to have things too long in the body.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure how long to knit, but it's coming along, and this is just, knit in the round at the moment. So it's my easy knitting.
Our minutes might be numbered here.
Yeah, so this is my only whip, actually. This might be a good place to pause, because we've just got a little bit of acquisition, a couple more acquisitions from England, and what we're planning next. So shall we pause, and we will either finish here, upload, and say thank you for watching. We are very close to 7,000 subscribers, so if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. We'll have a giveaway when we hit 7,000.
Yes.
Which hopefully will be by our next podcast.
Yes.
And I hope you are keeping well. Hope you are finding time to do something that brings you joy. Thanks for watching. And I think we're going to say until the next time.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.